The Seahawks and the Rams may have just played the game of the year in the NFL last night, with Seattle coming back from a 16-point fourth quarter deficit to beat the Rams 38-37 in overtime after a late touchdown and 2-point conversion gave Seattle the big-time division win, giving them the lead in the NFC West and allowing them to control their own destiny to the 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. In this film breakdown, I want to go over those critical final 2 plays because I loved the design from Clint Kubiak and the execution from guys like JSN and Sam Darnold, who were able to make it happen when Seattle needed it most from them. So here we are at roughly 3 minutes left in overtime at this point. Seattle has first and goal from about the 4 or 5 yard line here. They're going to start out in this bunch formation to the bottom of your screen with Cooper Kupp at the point of the bunch, and you've got Jackson Smith and Jigba in a one-on-one matchup opposite to the top of your screen there. Now, Seattle is going to send Rashid Shaheed across in motion. You're going to see 2 guys actually move in motion with him. So you're going to get this front DB who bumps all the way out to play this 2x2 set here, and number 21 who comes across and ends up aligning on the edge here. So, as I let this run, what this turns into here is you have this 2 wide receiver set to the top of the screen. It's going to be played by these 2 defensive backs, and they're going to play a very typical type of coverage that you would see when you're going to have a man coverage against this stacked 2 receiver set. Some defenses will call it banjo coverage. Essentially, you're going to try to pass this off between the 2. So if initially, he's manned up on Shaheed and he's manned up on JSN, that is subject to change depending on where these routes go. And so ideally, this DB at the top of the screen will play any outbreaking routes. This DB to the inside here will play anything coming across the middle of the field here. So as I let this run, there also is a play fake here. So another critical component of why this play ends up springing open for JSN is this play fake draws down this safety type into the box, who not only has a gap responsibility in the run fit, but also is probably manned up one-on-one, I would guess, with Charbonnet. So he has to respect the play fake here from Sam Darnold. So as I let this run, here you see the play fake. You're going to see how that brings that safety down into the box. What that helps to do, lots of green grass opens up behind them there in the end zone. And you have JSN running a basic or kind of a deep dig in breaking route here towards the back of the end zone that he's able to spring open on. Sam Darnold does a good job of getting to him, puts it right on him, and a big touchdown for Seattle. And I want to highlight one more thing in particular with JSN's route and release on this play. So again, I mentioned that banjo coverage, right, where you are trying to have the DBs anticipate who's out breaking, who's in breaking, just so that they don't get picked off on any short yardage routes here. So look at how JSN intentionally starts his release outside to draw in the, that defender that has that outside leverage, knowing that he's going to turn this into an in-breaking route. That helps him to get that early leverage here. So you see he releases outside. That triggers 3 to, I believe this is number 3, this defensive back, to pass this off. So you see he's looking to get hands onto JSN, but sees that outside release. So now he's going to take Shaheed on the inside and trust that the DB over the top here is going to then take JSN, which is what happens. And that's exactly what the Seahawks, Clint Kubiak, and JSN wanted to have happen, because now JSN at the top of his route, you see him lean into the defender here. So again, sell like he's potentially going to be breaking to the outside, uses that leverage against him, puts his foot in the ground, breaks to the inside, picks up a big touchdown. And then Seattle is faced with the decision: do you kick the field goal, potentially play for the tie? They say no, we're going for it. We're taking our chance at a 2-point conversion to attempt to, again, not only take the lead in the NFC West, but also have our own destiny in front of us to get that 1 seed in the whole NFC. Really love this play design from Clint Kubiak for multiple reasons. I think the biggest aspect of it, though, is it does a ton of pre-snap to give Sam Darnold the best possibility for success. So what you can't see just because of where the film starts here is Zach Charbonnet actually started out wide here, and he motioned down into the running back position. And a cornerback type was lined up out there with him, motion back down with him. So that's a first trigger that this is probably zone coverage just because it's not a linebacker or safety type matchup with him. They actually go an additional step further, and with this 3 wide receiver set to the bottom here, they're going to motion this outside tight end more inside the formation. So he's going to be become the number 1 at the bottom of the screen, now to the number 3 on the inside. And you see none of these DBs ran with him or linebackers matched up with him in his motion. So that's a really clear tell that this is going to be zone coverage, which it ended up being for the LA Rams here. Now, to talk through the routes here, you're getting essentially a mesh concept. Cooper Kupp is going to kind of be running a spray out here to the bottom of your screen. JSN is running a similar route where he has kind of like that outside release dig or basic route here towards the back of the end zone. And then you're going to get mesh from AJ Barner, this tight end, and then the inline tight end here at the bottom of your screen is going to be running the opposite drag route. Now, one thing to note about really any crossing route, but particularly with mesh concepts, these drags usually have the autonomy to sit against zone. So, against man, you're going to want to run and completely clear out and try to, get as much space to separate as possible. But against zone, you might stop here and settle. And this is how this play actually ends up springing open, because before this tight end is able to get out on this drag route, he has to chip for the pass rush, which delays him releasing on this drag, and he ends up just kind of settling right in front of Sam Darnold's eyesight. Sam puts it right on him before anybody can able to realize it, and they're able to pick up that 2-point conversion. So I'll let this run quickly and try to talk through it. So you see on the snap of the ball, this safety immediately here at the top of your screen, watch his eyes on this play. He's looking in the backfield. He's cluing in on, Charbonnet here as well as this tight end. And he sees on the snap, Charbonnet is running, kind of a swing route, little check down. 81 sets up in pass protection. His eyes immediately come backside. And you see he's going to actually get eyes on the first mesh route here from the tight end. This linebacker type, I believe this is Landman, actually gets hands on. So you kind of have 2 guarding 1. The issue here is these 2 guys are going to be widening out to this side of the field. One is likely playing the flat. The other is going to be playing anything deeper beyond that, which opens up a really wide void here in the middle of the field, which is exactly, again, where that ball ends up going. So you see that delayed release here from the tight end. He's not going to run himself out, into where additional defenders are. He's just going to come up here, settle up right in front of Darnold, and Darnold puts it right on him. Great identification. Again, the pre-snap motion helps to key all of that together. The chip and release, to the settle on that mesh concept. Again, really great play design from Clint Kubiak. Really well executed across the board. I believe they mentioned on the broadcast this tight end that ended up catching this pass, not even typically a guy that they have, as a receiving threat there in Seattle. So all in all, great design with the personnel, understanding the concept, the pre-snap motion, well executed by Seattle, and a well-deserved win. It is not easy, these late division games with everything on the line and with all of the noise around Sam Darnold, not just, zooming out around his whole, last 2 years at this point where he kind of has choked as we've gotten later into those more critical parts of the season. But also even in their first game against the Rams, having, I believe a 4-interception game, being able to be clutch down the stretch with a big passing touchdown and the 2-point conversion. You gotta love it for Seattle in this one. But that's gonna do it for this film breakdown. Again, really short one, but loved this play design and execution from Clint Kubiak and the Seahawks team. If you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel, drop a like, drop a comment, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another upload. All of that really helps out the algorithm. As always, I appreciate you, and I'm out.